In this video, I'll be showing you how to replace an oil pressure sensor on a Chevrolet Equinox. It is located on the back side of the engine underneath the intake manifold. Let's get started. We're going to move along to our charge pipe right next to the engine and locate the 10mm mounting bolt underneath this hose right here. We're going to remove that. And set it aside. Now I'm going to move along to the corner of my engine cover to locate this single T30 screw. We're going to remove that. We're going to also remove our oil cap. Now we're going to pull up the engine cover up and out of the way. Set it aside. Now we're going to do the same with this foam insulation. Just pull it away from the corners and set it aside. Now I'm going to go on to the other end of the charge pipe. On the throttle body, I'm going to find the retaining spring here. I'm going to disengage it using a flat blade screwdriver. Just going to go under it and just pry up. Once it's fully pulled out, as you can see, just pull it up and out and set it aside. Now we're going to move along to the intake manifold. Locate this metal bracket holding this wire harness down. It is held in by a single 10mm bolt. We're going to go ahead and remove that. Set the bolt aside and put the bracket to the side as well. Now we have access to this harness and its two connectors. On both ends you'll find white tabs. Pull these out and remove the harness. And set them aside. I'm going to move up the harness here, locate this clip, and remove it using a trim tool. And set the whole harness aside. We're going to make our way underneath the intake manifold, locate our purge valve solenoid right here. Going to disengage it using a pick on this tab right here and slide it out. So I'm going to insert the tab on top, going to press down and work it free. Now we're going to remove the connections. We're going to start with this evap hose connection right here. On top of these two ears, there is going to be a green tab. We're going to pull that away using a pick. As you can see now, our clip is disengaged. We can slide the evap hose out. Now we're going to move on to our electrical connector right here. On top there is a white tab. Just push that back and slide it out. Just push back. I'm going to remove the connector. I'm going to slide these out the way. Now for our last evap hose. On the bottom there are two green connectors. Push those up and slide the evap vent valve out. So I push those up. Clip's disengaged. I can slide it out and set it aside. Now let's go ahead and remove our intake manifold. On the bottom there are two bolts, one on this corner and one on this corner. We're going to start by removing those. There are two 10mm. These stay in the intake manifold during removal. As you can see, they are held in. They cannot be removed. Now for the other bolt. Now that those two are loosened, I'm going to locate the middle of the intake manifold. In here we have one more 10mm bolt. Slide my tool in and break it free. Now I'm going to move back on top of the intake manifold. We have one more bolt here, another one on the other side in here. We'll start off with the other one. Now these are recessed in the intake so you can't see them, but we could easily see this one. Now for our last bolt. Now we can remove our intake manifold from the vehicle. Just going to work it back and forth. Let's break the seal. Just pull it up and out of the vehicle. Now with the intake manifold out of the way, we're going to make our way to our high pressure fuel pump bracket right here. There's a plastic clip holding a wire harness down right here, and two 10mm bolts, one here and one on top. I'm going to undo the plastic clip using a trim tool. And set it aside. Now we're going to remove our 10mm bolt. Set it aside. Now I'm going to follow this wire harness here up on the bracket. It's held in by a clip. We're going to remove it using a trim tool. I'm going to move along further down and locate the second clip. And set it aside. Now I'm going to move on to my 10mm bolt right here. Now with our bracket free, I'm going to reposition it out of the way to gain access to our oil pressure sensor. As you can see, now we have full access to our sensor right here. Now I'm going to go ahead and look at our oil pressure sensor. On top there is a white tab. I'm going to undo it using a pick. Once that's undone, I'm going to use some needle nose pliers to remove the connector. Now that it's free, inspect for any corrosion or damage. Set it aside. Now I'm going to remove our oil pressure sensor using a 24mm socket. And there it is. Now I'm going to install our new oil pressure sensor. I'm going to start off by hand threading it on. I'm going to locate our hole right there. As you can see, it's started in, so I'm just going to snug it down. Now I'm going to torque this to 26 foot-pounds using my 24mm. Now we're going to reconnect our electrical connector. I'm going to slide it over in place. I'm going to push down until I hear a click. And push the white tab down as well. You could also use a pick to push it down. Here we have our intake manifold. We're going to take a look at our exhaust gasket, make sure it's not broken or torn. If it is, now is a good time to replace it. For now, I'm just going to wipe it down. Yeah, that looks good. Now before we reinstall it on the vehicle, I'm going to reinstall our evap solenoid right here. There's a tab on the intake manifold, just slide it over. Make sure it's fully secured. I'm going to slide our evap hose over again, push all the way in, and push down on the green tab. Now we're ready to reinstall. Now let's go ahead and install our intake manifold. I'm going to slide it in place, make sure the hose is out of the way. Align it with the tabs on the engine head. And I'm going to hand thread on our corner bolts. Now I'm going to use a socket and extension to hand thread on my other bolts. There's one on top right here. I'm going to slide my socket and extension in and just hand thread them on. Now there's another one recessed right here in the middle. So you slide it in. And for our other one along the top in this side of the intake manifold. Now to torque these down, there's a specific sequence showing on the screen right now. I'm going to start off in the middle one, move on to the left top one, then to the right top one. Then we're going to go off to the bottom corner one right here, next to the solenoid, and then to the one closest to the high pressure fuel pump on the opposite corner. Now for our last bolt. Now we're going to reconnect our evap solenoid. I'm going to grab my harness right here. Slide it in place first. Just going to push down and push this white tab in. Once this is secure, we're going to reinstall our evap hose. Do the same. Slide it over. Once it's fully slid over, push down on the green tab. And make sure it is secure. Now that our intake manifold is reinstalled, we can move on to our connections up here. We have one next to the throttle body right here. I'm going to take our harness, slide it over, push it in, and push the white tab in. There's another one on the throttle body itself. Same thing. Take the connector, push it in, and push the white tab in. Now there's a great clip here that goes on the bracket on the manifold. I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall that as well. Now for our bracket bolt right here, I'm gonna line the bracket and hand thread on our 10mm bolt. Now just snug it down. Now for our charge pipe, I'm gonna undo the clip, make sure it's fully out, push all the way down and push in on the clamp. Make sure it's fully seated and make sure it's fully secured. Now I'm going to slide over my engine cover foam, fully push down on all the corners, make sure it's fully seated. And now for our engine cover. There's two rubber grommets that sit on these tabs on the engine, so make sure they're fully secured when you install them. Now with that installed, I'm going to reinstall my oil cap. Now I'm going to install my T30 Torx engine bolt. Goes down in here, and just snug this down. Now we're going to follow along on the charge pipe to install our mounting bolt right here, which is a 10mm. Now go ahead and snug this down. And that completes our install. Go ahead and take the vehicle for a road test and ensure you don't have a check engine light. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.